Hello, Steve. Hello, Jill. It's time to game classy.
All right, so we're recording now. That was the opening to Jesse's Girl.
You thought it would be game classy, but it was I, Dio.
That's an anime thing, right? I saw you posted that. I was like, oh, that's an anime thing. I get it. I'm not laughing, but I get it.
You're an uncultured swine.
Or to quote, better quote Meatwad. I get it. I ain't laughing, but I get it.
Unacceptable. Tonight, you.
What am I doing?
Never mind. You made an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference, so I made one.
Oh,
and
okay.
You didn't get it.
No, I did not.
You've really dropped the ball.
I haven't watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force in about 12 years. It has been literally...
Is it really that old?
It's been a score since I've watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
It can't be 12 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it when I was in college, and I graduated in 2003, so...
Fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, same here, but
yeah.
I just remember things better.
No, I mean, they still make new episodes.
Than everyone.
Well, I mean, I remember it, but I mean, it's like there's a couple things I remember. It's like more like fleeting glimpses. Like I wake up in the middle of the night.
Glimpses of an age's past.
Exactly.
Glorious castles and broadswords, dragons, fantasy and adventure. Now has been replaced by your dull life of teaching in an inner city school,
Yes.
coming home to an angry wife and a child that doesn't appreciate you,
I was going to say,
and a bunch of toy men.
is coming home to Dragon Strike.
No. That would be carrying on and be like, but are you prepared for the next evolution of your life? The Dragon Strike! I don't have the douchey turtleneck, though. Did I ever? I don't think I ever linked that on Game Classy.
Yeah, you have.
Have I? Okay.
We've talked about it on Game
All
Classy
right.
before.
Well, I knew we talked about it
I have
before.
a better memory than most people.
No.
This was
I knew
literally 2 months ago.
I knew we've talked about it before, but I don't know if I put the whole video up.
Maybe not the whole video, but at least we put up the part where like, are you ready?
Yeah.
For Dragon Strike.
The dude in the turtleneck.
Yeah, the guy who kind of looks like Eric Roberts. Yeah, totally. You know,
Right.
Not Eric Roberts circa the Killers video from like 2006.
Is that from the band that sings about Mr. Brightside?
Yeah, no, that's ELO.
Fuck.
They sing.
What the hell's ELO? Is that the Electric Light Orchestra?
Yes, the Electric. No, maybe Mr. Brightside is the Killers. Okay, no, ELO does Mr. Blue Skies. That's what it is. That's
Isn't
what I'm
ELO
getting-
like old from?
Oh yeah, they're from the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, 70s, 80s.
All right.
Jeff Lynne, great band.
Don't talk to me about music, man. I really don't know what you're talking about.
So it's okay. It's okay. We can talk about some Traveling Wilburys if you like.
REO Speedwagon.
Some Mario Speedwagon. I think they sing "I Can't Fight This Feeling" anymore. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, getting away from that, how was your week? Or your 2 weeks since we last spoke?
It's true. It has been 2 weeks.
Yes. How have they been?
Just dandy.
Me, not so much. I just set that up so I could talk about this.
I see.
No, I had the flu for the first time in about 10 years earlier this week. The flu sucks, Steve.
I mean, it seems pretty sweet. You can just stay home and watch TV.
Yeah, you could watch TV. I was literally... Okay, so to set this up, I went to go see a podcast recorded live on Monday. It was Doug Loves Movies. I don't know if you probably don't watch that one.
Nope.
And listen to that one, no.
Nope.
It's funny. I mean, it was good. It was, in Chicago. But I was at a comedy club, and it was really hot, and I thought I was just nauseous from the heat. So I ended up, getting home and throwing up, and I was like, oh, got that out of my system. I feel way better. Then I laid down in bed and went to sleep, and then I woke up about a half hour later and said, nope! And I was in the bathroom for the entire rest of the night. That sucks.
That was a great story.
I know, but I mean, it's like throwing up and not being drunk. It's terrible. I mean, not that throwing up while being drunk is all the better, but at least you have a reason why you're like, oh, this is some microscopic organism infecting my body. I can't fight it physically. This sucks.
You should have challenged it to fisticuffs.
You know
should just looked in the mirror and been like, come on, you. I'll give you a cauliflower ear.
That's what you do when you're drunk. You're like,
I mean, you could fight the drunk as well.
Yeah.
But you could also have challenged your flu to fisticuffs.
fight the drunk inside of you,
Yeah.
kind of like the Incredible Hulk. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then before you know it, you'll be outside in the alley and it'll be like, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo.
No,
You'll be doing the
you
thump.
mean... ba-na-na-na.
Sure, whatevs.
I was kind of wondering what you were talking about. I was like, be out in
The sad Incredible fucking Hulk song.
Yeah, but that was nowhere near that. That was like the opening of Jurassic Park.
It's still a clearly obvious reference. And Jurassic Park is bam, 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 bam.
No.
Bam, 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 bam.
Oh God. We were watching Aladdin with my daughter, and she's never seen it.
One step ahead of the bread line.
Well,
one step ahead of the sword.
Diana goes. I
will steal what I can't afford. That's everything.
Diana, we got to the part where the genie does a friend like me, and Diana turns to me and goes, "That's what it must be like recording with Steve every 2 weeks." It's like all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, like.
It's true. I do summon like camels and like giant stacks of sandwiches. Have a little more baklava. Have some of column A. Have all of column B.
See what I'm saying?
I'm
That's
in the
what it's
mood
like.
to help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Yeah, and you're actually,
And a giant applause sign pops up out of my back.
and surprisingly, you're a less offensive stereotype of the Middle Eastern region. So there you go.
It's because I don't have the curly shoes.
It's true. Though you would wear them, curly shoes and baggy pants. If
Absolutely.
Given the
It's Karnov. I would definitely dress like Karnov. That'd be a sweet cosplay for me because all I need are the hammer pants and the curly Q shoes because then I just take my shirt off and I'm Karnov.
Yeah, you're just like you're the stereotypical every Middle Eastern vendor in an RPG. You're like, I have the wares if you have the gold.
Fine wares are available for a fine price.
Would you like dates? I have plenty of dates.
Perhaps some figs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it'd be like. Ugh. So, is there anything big going on in the gaming world? Any sort of big news or something like that that we need to be talking about?
I mean, it's not big news. It's not important. No one should care. But yes, there's a new edition of 40K if that's where you were trying to segue into. I mean, and I believe this.
40K's new edition.
I believe this episode is
now.
Game Classy Unbound Overdrive.
Yes, Unbound Overdrive.
Yep, that is the name.
Bright eyes, cold hearts.
Game Classy Unbound Overdrive.
You never watched Friday Night Lights, right?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Why would I watch that?
Well, apparently it's not about football, but I know there's no magic.
I'm flabbergasted.
I know. I
It doesn't
never
have
watched
to have
it.
fucking magic. It's about fucking football. Like, it's sportsing. We're gonna sports.
I'm not good at sports. Speaking of which, before we get into the 40K, which I know is everyone's waiting, but like, oh, they're so gonna make fun of this. Oh, I can't wait. Oh,
I mean,
they're gonna make fun of 40K.
Yeah, I mean that's a foregone
I gotta buy a
conclusion.
new keyboard. It's all soaked with my semen.
Don't jazz on your keyboard.
Well, I'm not saying I'm jazzing on it.
Oh, all right.
I'm saying they are.
Oh, okay.
Because they get so excited while listening to it that they just
But
can't
what if they're
control
listening
themselves.
on their Android phone or iDevice?
Or iDevice? Well, they're not going to really hold it by their dicks, I don't think. Well, maybe. Maybe
I mean,
got one of those
they might
weird-
have one of those gym things where you strap it to your arm and
Yeah.
you just slide it in there and you just listen on the headphones.
Yeah. Okay. They can still masturbate then.
Well,
They're
yeah,
like,
it's just completely
make fun of
unimpeded.
it. They're so
But
gonna
then
make
what are they
fun
going
of
to jazz
40K.
on? Well, then what are they going to jazz on? Maybe their 6th edition rulebook.
Yeah, their 6th edition rulebook. Yes. Summon the ghosts of Jeeves Johnson.
Ernie Trumbers.
Ernie Chambers. That's 3rd edition, sir. What was I going with it? Oh, yeah. Before we were talking about sportsing. Yeah, I like that Impact Minis is like, don't get us wrong, Impact, if you listen to this podcast. We really like your stuff.
I'm a fan of Impact.
Oh, I'm a fan of Impact as well, but it's just like we got to stop.
Also,
with this.
they're a paramount of the Kickstarter.
They are. They're excellent. They always give you a lot
They've
of good
delivered
stuff.
stuff early as well.
Their stuff is all really nicely done. It's all high quality.
They've delivered stuff early.
Yeah. But it's just we got to stop with the sports stuff. It's becoming a little endemic.
Hey, I mean, people buy it.
I guess
I don't understand why.
because you need to play sports ball.
Well, it's because you need to make the least physical activity possible to emulate a very physical activity.
I guess.
It's like playing Madden. It's like yes, I'm playing sports. It's in the game.
By the way, something that you say quite regularly, I've been saying lately. When they're like, did you watch the game last night? And I'm like, no. Who won? And they're like, the Cubs won. And I go, oh, your local team won. That makes you a winner too.
Yes, exactly.
People get so mad at that.
They sure do. Like that makes you a much better person.
That makes you your local team won. That makes you a winner too.
Yep.
Did they score the non-match points required?
Did they get all the unit
Did
points?
they get all the unit points?
Finally.
Oh, so anyway, 40K 7th edition. Before we go into the nuts and bolts of
What we've seen.
what we've seen so far, of what we know is changing, just a little bit of a history. Warhammer 40,000. For those who do not know,
Who doesn't?
well, there's some kids who probably believe that Warhammer 40,000 started the year they were born.
Or 40 million.
Warhammer 40 million. The game started in 2005, and that's when I bought my first Tyranids and glued their
No,
stuff.
the best was the kid who was like, "Oh, Warhammer!" The kid came into the bunker and he's like, "Warhammer 40 million, awesome!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's not 40 million."
But anywho, it started in '87 with Road Trader, which was essentially an RPG game. I love it going into a game store and we're talking about 40K, and there's always one fucking neckbeard who always goes up and like, I still got my edition of Road Trader. It's spiral bound.
Beakies.
Beakies. I just spent a lot of money on some squats.
really
oh wait, that was me who said that.
I
damn
was
it.
really
No.
disappointed in buying this box of tactical marines because it didn't come with enough beat keys.
Yeah. I bought.
That's an actual quote.
Yeah.
That was an actual quote. Yes.
Or
Someone
there's,
actually
a
sat
guy
there
who's
and-
like, I remember back in the day, you could buy 3 Land Raiders for $50. Yes, they look terrible.
they were
and
way cheaper than $50.
whatever. It's like it doesn't matter. You're a terrible human being. Yeah. So I mean, it started in '87, and it was a terrible game. And then second edition came out, and I think early '90s.
That was the start of the codexes.
Yeah, the start of the codexes. Second edition was all right. I mean, it was nothing fancy. It was a pretty piss poor game.
You gotta love the art direction, though.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is just like the brightest possible colors.
Well, that's what I love. I loved that edition. I loved all like the really bad
and the red.
the '90s sculpts.
Red.
Everyone just was standing there with their elbows into their sides and their arms splayed out.
and the red.
Oh, I loved
and
it.
the yellow.
Loved it so much.
And the goblin green bases.
Everything went.
I still stand by the goblin green bases.
Not so much.
Goblin
but
green base, baby.
I know people
Hype.
who do. I know people who still stand by the snakebite brown base or I go black rim base. That's me.
No. I'm talking the goblin green base.
I know
when
what
you
you're talking
paint the
about.
entire
Your
base, goblin green. Yeah.
Okay, I get
Not
what
just
you're
the
saying.
rim.
Not just the rim.
No, it's
You don't
everything.
like just giving a rim job on it?
No. Well, the rim job you're giving it is the goblin green, and then you can do a light dry brush of like sunburst yellow on the sand. Yup. That's how it's done, baby.
Oh, that is how it's done. That's how it was done. How it will always
And
be
all of your spear shafts need to be red. Every handle of every weapon needs to be red. Your warriors should be wearing some sort of yellow. And now you are in the 90s.
The year was 1993. Do 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 do.
I thought Hanson was later than that.
No, that's Third Eye Blind. I'm doing.
Ah.
Hanson was bop, bop, give it up, bop, yeah, yeah.
I feel like I'm sitting across from the man who founded the Third Reich. I really do. I expect you at any moment to start spouting out for me in
What?
German.
Hitler is not supposed to like Hansen. Hitler loved Hansen. Look, 3 young boys, blonde hair, blue eyes. How am I not supposed to like Hansen?
I thought they had brown
He's
hair.
catchy. Ava, come here, listen to the song.
Why do you sound like a dude who's about to go to a discotheque?
Hitler loved discotheque. I listen to Kraftwerk. It's
I
because
don't
this
want
is
to be your sex subject. Have no feeling, no self-respect.
I listen to the Hansen, the Street Boys. Eins, zwei, drei. Look, I don't. That's my go-to German accent.
All right, the effeminate creepy guy who's gonna go to the discotheque, or is like a super higher up skeletal guy in a Nazi
Yes.
uniform. Right on. Those are the two.
That's a bingo. Yeah, it's like so.
Scusi.
Scusi. So in the 90s was mostly like small armies. It was fine. But it's the beginning of what 40K became. That second edition. It was a great box set. Got Gretchen and Blood Angels. A lot of cards, a lot of punches.
I love those because those are the old single sculpts.
Yeah.
The old plastics where everybody was just holding their gun kind of off to the
so
side.
easy to paint.
Yep.
And then in 98 or 99, they came out with third edition, which was the
The Blemplar and the Dark Eldar.
That was the part where everyone was like, okay, so people like putting together our miniatures. So we're going to make every piece a separate part. So every hand, every gun, every fucking armor plate, it's gonna be a different thing. Dark Eldar, oh yeah, they're literally 20-piece models.
All those spikes,
all the spikes,
separate.
Yeah. Oh, and you want to have some guys without helmets on? Okay, so we're gonna give you 2 heads, one that's got a ponytail and one that's got the stupidest hairdo known to mankind.
And the top knots. Let's not forget all of the top knots.
Oh, so many top knots. But yeah, and that came with the terrible land speeder that was like, it just like didn't fit together.
Yeah.
It was like
they showed like in the guide to build it, it's got like a couple rubber bands on it. It's like, no, that thing needs to be entirely covered in rubber bands from surface to surface, and you're still gonna have a big gap in the side.
No. What you need to do is you first. It's like that thing with like the how to build, where it's like step 1 and you take like the hobby knife out, and then you're like, you see them slowly like remove sprue bits, and then step 2 it says like take this piece and go to that piece, but you still see the guy removing sprue bits, and then it's like step 3 and he's still removing, but he's cutting himself accidentally and his hand's getting covered in blood while he's doing it.
Yep.
And then they're like, okay, now you got to do, and then he's finally getting to the glue part and he's getting glue all over his hands. It's like the worst
And
fucking
then
model.
it's just a bunch of pieces stuck to his bloody hand, and it's like, and there's your miniature.
Pretty much, that's what it was like. That model was fucking terrible. Oh, worst model ever. And
And that was the age of the dink Terminators. They were like the smallest things ever.
Ding, ding, ding. And they still cost $30 a model back then. So that 3rd edition came out, and then when me and you were working for this store, they came out with 4th edition, which was
Ultramarines versus Tyranids.
McCraig,
The Battle for Mackridge. Battle for Mackridge.
I remember at a one of those, we used to have the staff meetings on Sunday nights where they would be like, so what's going to be your sales pitch for this? And I went there and I gave the most sexually explicit thing, talking about the Tyranids, like, and the pods open up, voluptuously revealing the lips of the pod. As the Tyranids engorge themselves. I just remember getting yelled at for that. I'm like, what? It's fucking Space Marines and Tyranids. The thing sells itself.
It's true.
Yeah, and so the 4th edition came out, and everyone was like, we could do tournaments with 4th edition.
There were 3rd edition tournaments.
I know, but not as much. 4th edition is when the tournament scene like kicked into full gear.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, there was
the grand tournaments for 3rd edition.
Oh yeah, there was plenty of grand tournaments.
There wasn't a lot of like in-store action, more than like 4 or 5 players.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, then 4th edition popped up, and that became like the giant tournament. Adepticon kind of spawned out of 4th edition. I mean, granted, it came beforehand, but that 4th edition playstyle is what really drove like Adepticon and all the other bigger tournaments. And you had Codex creep, and then you had everything that became wrong with 40K started with that 4th edition. Then 5th edition came, I think, 4 years later. I think it was 07 or something like that.
Parking lots.
Or 06, 07 is when, yeah.
Which brought parking lots.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, so now it's like Games Workshop was like, wait a second. If we come up with a new edition and then we make the things that aren't selling better, we could sell those things and make the things that are selling now worse. We don't have to sell as much of those things.
No, it's because people already bought them.
Yeah, because people already bought them. So they did that, and then they made all vehicles worth so much. And, oh, this is so great. Oh, that's great. Don't get me wrong. I like tanks. I buy a lot of tanks. I buy so many tanks. It's ridiculous. But I just didn't care at that point. At 5th edition, I was just like, this is difficult. I was like, I'd get all excited. I'd be like, I'm going to do this codex. And I'd buy the codex, and I'd buy a couple figures, and I'd be like, put them all together, and I'd sit down to paint it, and I'd just be like,
4th edition was definitely the first spot where you really saw how flawed their model of writing rules were. Where like they're like, all right, you two, you're in charge of this codex. You're in charge of this codex. You're in charge of this codex. So then like they're like, okay, well this edition's more about streamlining. So then you get the fucking what's his name, Gav Thorpe Chaos Space Marines, where everything is it's the simplest army list you could possibly have. It's like there are no options. You just pick what you want. You slot it in. There's no choices. There's no design. It's just like super simple, which wouldn't have been terrible except for the fact that the dude who wrote this codex didn't apply that mentality to writing his codex. So his codex has fucking rules everywhere. And there's like special things like, oh, this thing's got this and this thing's got this and this and this. So then you have an edition where you've got a bunch of fucking rules written by a bunch of guys who aren't talking to each other apparently. So it's like, oh, well, Chaos Space
no,
Marines
they talk to each other, but the British accents are so thick and different that they can't understand each other.
I'm pretty sure if you're British, you can understand every British accent.
I don't know. I mean, like, have you ever heard a Cornish man speak? That joke is for our British listeners.
Is that like a Cornish game hen?
Yes.
Nice.
Or a Welshman.
Well, she.
To quote Ed Spedigue, Welshmen, they can't design rules.
Well, she. Yeah, so it's just a fucking mess. That was the start of it all.
Of course, they can't design a rule. He's a Scot.
The start of the downward spiral.
Yeah, and then, then comes the game classy era of gaming, which we all like to designate the time period.
Sixth
we started,
edition?
when we get 6th edition. And 6th edition was just like, what? No.
6th edition had some pretty decent rules.
No, 6th edition was great. And the thing was that when this announcement came for 7th
Great
edition...
is a strong word.
I mean, it changed the direction of the game. Like, it went from less tournament style to a more... It's a very rules-heavy, gamey game at this point. It's not as quick. It's not as fast-paced. There's a lot of like little fiddly things you have to do in order to play the game.
They have the shit tier allies rules, the commander rules, which are really stupid because you get a general who gets a special ability that you roll to get. Like, okay,
why don't you pick the general that's best for the mission?
yeah, it's like that was really stupid.
But I mean, like the 6th edition
and the flyers. Oh, the flyers.
Well, the flyers rule was just in there to sell flyers models. Let's be honest. They
didn't need to make it OP. That's the problem. When Workshop wants to sell something, they just jack it up to 11, and they're like, this thing's gonna be so good, every single person's gonna want to buy it. And sure enough, that becomes the game, and it's a disaster for the player side because it's like, oh, cool, what are you playing? Oh, all flyers, cool, me too. Let's get our game going. Like if they just made shit good. Like the whole goal of game design is every fucking thing in your game should be a 7.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing a miniatures game, everything should be a 7, and that's the challenge. You want to try and make everything good. You don't want to make everything super powerful. You don't want to make everything garbage. You want everything to be a fucking 7.
Well, I mean, so let me put it in this perspective.
And the next edition, flyers are going to suck. Mark my words. They're going to be just cast down upon the rocks.
Well, I mean, let me put it in. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that, but what it has to be is that it has to be balanced out enough that if it's that good, the point cost has to make it so prohibitive to take, or something has to make it.
But then that doesn't make it good. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Everything is factored in.
Yeah.
Look, if it's the best model in the game, but it costs 1,000 points, who fucking cares? It's 1,000 points.
You're not going to take it. Exactly. I want to make sure that got in there too.
Right.
Like
the points matter, but they're part of making it a 7.
Because
if the troop's shitty, like you can have a shitty troop, but he should have a discount.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's so cheap that you could take hundreds of them.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter.
Great. This is good because you can take going down in points is generally the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. But anyway, so then they announced this 2 years later, which is way off their schedule, but that's probably because they took such a tank.
It took a beating last year.
Yeah, and because no one's playing fantasy or 40K apparently.
Definitely not fantasy.
Yeah, they're definitely not playing fantasy. They're definitely not playing The Hobbit. But Steve almost choked right there. So they decided to put a new rule set. So they're doing Warhammer 40,000 7th edition.
7th edition. Unbound. Hey, watch my smokes, bro.
Anywho, you have 7th edition coming out, and so there's already been 2 big controversies. Now you're thinking like, oh, maybe they'll just nerf some stuff from 6.
I'm gonna make.
Wait, hold on. So you think that they would fix stuff from 6?
Right.
The problems with it, they would fix allies rules. They would fix flyers rules. Maybe not nerf flyers completely, but make them so that they're not, as Steve calls them, OP.
Fix the commanders.
Fix the commanders rules.
I wouldn't say flyers are OP at this point. Flyers are format warping.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a difference.
That's a new one. That's a new gaming meta term.
Yeah.
Format warping.
Right.
But I think flyers in a mini game are stupid because it's like, unless they have VTOL, it's stupid. Like the orc stuff, it's like, I'm going to move to the center of the table, and it just stops right there. It's like, okay, that's sitting there while we shoot at each other. This looks dumb. Whoever did this should be shot. Where's Andy Chambers? Where's Ernie Chambers? Where's Jeeves?
A better way to move have the flyers work is you start them off the table and you move them on the table like some pretty big distance in a single direction.
Yeah.
And then they shoot. And then on your next turn, they move another huge distance in the same direction, and then they shoot. And then when they move off the table, you can then put them on another side of the table where they come back. They're circling around.
Well, I know that there's going to be a person who goes, well, Joe, most of the things in 40K are VTOL. And to that I say, who the
orcs
fuck
have a fucking
cares?
propeller plane.
Who
That is not VTOL.
the fuck cares?
It's got a propeller. It's like,
Squats.
or they look like 1950s jet planes. Also, not VTOL.
Yeah. Squats or GTFO?
Squats.
Squats.
They would have a gyrocopter, the giant double gyrocopter.
Yeah.
That thing's the fucking most hideous thing ever.
Big fucking titty gyrocopter. So yeah, so you think they do that? But here's the two things that we are finding out that they're changing. One is the so-called Unbound rules.
Unbound. Your wallets will be unbound.
Which basically says, like, you know what? All those rules that we have,
fuck it.
Fuck it. Just put it on the table and just mash them together.
I got 2,000 points of soul grinders. Boom. Suck it.
So, yeah, for those who are unaware, there's always been sort of a unit composition rule, so to speak, or army composition rule. Way back in the day, it used to be like, oh, you have to take 50% minimum troops and 25% HQ of your points, the points that it costs for each figure.
And they've called it the Force org chart now.
The Force org chart was designed for 3rd edition, where it was like you can only take 1 HQ, you have to take a minimum of 2 troop choices, you can take up to 6, you can only have up to 3 fast attack, 3 heavy support, blah, 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 blah.
3 elites.
3 elites! But now they're just like, you know what? That was too restrictive. We're going to give you a rule that says play whatever the fuck you want. You don't even need a commander. Just, you could put on there? Just put all wolves on the table. Just put all dogs.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
And why don't you throw in a Chaos Land Raider and a Tyranid Hierophant or,
so basically,
a Biotitan. Sure. No
basically what they did was they went to the bunker and saw a bunch of 12-year-olds playing this game against each other and were like, you know what? This could work.
That's a brilliant idea.
They're like,
by gum, I gotta jot this down.
I'm playing my Space Marines, but I'm going to use my older brother's Orc Gargant. I like this idea. We should do this. We should put this into the rule set.
Finally.
And I like how they tagged it. Your only limit is what's in your collection. So, I mean, this is for literally for 2 people. 1 for 12-year-olds and 2 for assholes who have 6 Titans that they want to put on the table all at once. It's not that I'm saying this is a terrible idea, because it doesn't bother me in the least. I don't play 40K anymore. But I'm saying in terms of I would like to play 40K if the rules were good. I think you're the same way. I think you're the same way.
It's a stupid idea. It's a fucking dumb idea.
But I'm saying, like, if 40K all of a sudden, like, 7th edition came out and the rules were fucking insanely good, and someone said, Steve, here's an army, would you play 40K?
If they gave me an army?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you just don't want to paint and put it together.
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm not spending the money. I'm not painting it. I'm not putting it together.
But you would play
fuck it.
You would play it.
Yeah,
if
I'd
it was
play
a
it.
good if it was a good system.
Right.
I would buy an army and paint it and put it together if it was a good system. The problem is,
But now your system is unbound.
now the system's unbound.
Think of all endless possibilities.
They could say, but there is going to be, what are they calling it for people who still want to play with a Force org chart?
I think they're still calling it the Force org chart. But you're
there's
going to
a-
get
no,
it.
there's
It's War Machine tier lists.
There's a special, it's like they're doing tier lists with
They're
it.
doing War Machine tier lists, which if War Machine is anything to go by, will be far vastly inferior to just taking the army.
Yeah. I think it's Battleforged. That's what it's called. Battleforged and Unbound.
So fucking stupid. I wonder if PIP is going to sue him over the use of Unbound.
Maybe.
I mean, they did. PIP used it first.
I guess. I mean, it's not like they're called Warhammer 40,000 7th edition War Machine Hordes.
Warma hordes.
Warma Hordes. That would actually be pretty funny. I would sit there, like, I'd be sitting down on the couch, big bucket of popcorn, being like, I can't wait for this to get going. And it's like, Joe, what are you doing? The TV's not on. You're not looking at a computer. You're just sitting there eating popcorn.
You're staring at the wall.
What's going on? This is silly.
Shh, I'm waiting for the internet to happen.
Shh. Internets are abound. But yeah, that's the first thing that they're doing, which is the biggest weird. Like, everyone was kind of like, what?
Well, the best thing, when I saw it, I was like, oh, so the most complained about thing in 6th edition, the Allies rules, because they're stupid, you've now turned that up to fucking 21.
Yeah, no shit. It's just like
Like, the worst thing in the game, the Allies rules. They're like, and by the way, we're gonna make it even better.
Okay, so now getting away from the gaming aspect of it, I understand why they're doing it.
They're trying to sell more models.
They could sell a fuck ton of everything now.
I mean, they think that
They think that's
what's going to work,
but it's not.
I think
well, maybe I don't fucking know.
Okay, so like we've talked about it before, but there's the workshop players that are just so entrenched.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Like they're the
They're like
lifers.
a heroin addicts.
They're the lifers.
Yeah.
Those guys, they'll be whatever.
Y'all got some plastic crack.
If they're trying to get new players in, like just think about it. Like I'll taking away my stance against Games Workshop and my hatred against Games Workshop.
I don't think this is possible.
It is.
We'd have to take you to a transporter
as a new player,
and like that episode of Star Trek, The Enemy Within, where they split the Kirk into the two Kirks. That's the only way we can get you away from your hatred of Games Workshop. Is that we would have Steve who doesn't hate Games Workshop and Steve who hates Games Workshop so much that he would actually literally break your models on the table. And then there would be that dog that has the unicorn costume on it.
Uni?
Well. Yes.
Fucking sweet. So, from a new player standpoint,
yes.
I walk into a Games Workshop store and I'm like, oh, these miniatures look really cool. Like, how do these armies work?
I really like these 28mm figures.
Sure, these look awesome. They're talking to me about it. I'm like, oh, cool. And then, like, let's say I buy in.
They're like, would you like to play a demo game?
I'm like, absolutely. I play the demo game. I'm like, I want to buy in. So they sell me the starter set, which is fucking dildos versus floppy dicks.
Actually, the new one is going to be orcs versus blood angels. But there you go.
Sure, whatever. Dildos versus floppy dicks. And I'm like, oh man, I really like the floppy dicks. So then when I'm playing it, they sell me the $100 rulebook as well because I'm a sucker. Okay. And I'm like, sure, I'll buy this $100.
Why would you buy the $100 rulebook?
I'll buy
it comes with the.
Because I'm a sucker.
Oh, okay.
Like they suggest the rule book as well, even though there's one in the.
Would you like some glue and primer as well?
Yes, exactly.
Perhaps some side cutters that cost $35.
Exactly. So I buy all of the shit.
Okay, so you spent.
I dropped $350.
I was gonna say you spent $3,000. Right? Okay.
I dropped 350 bones, and I'm like, I put it together, and I'm maybe I play a game with a buddy, try and get him into it. I'm like, oh okay, and then
he's like, what are these 28mm figures for?
28mm models, or heroic scale. I'm looking at the
Perhaps
rules.
we could
use
these for Spelljammer.
I'm like, okay, how do I build this? Oh, I bought the codec for the dick butts.
Okay.
And I was like, sweet, I have the codex. So I'm trying to look into the army and I'm like, wait a minute. But in this rule book, it says I can use anything.
Yeah.
So let's say that doesn't turn me off because I don't know any better.
Okay.
And I still want to be in this game.
Okay.
How the fuck, the only option I have as a new player is to just buy shit at random and hope that it works. Because I'm like, well, I mean, this thing's cool. Maybe it'll be good. I'm going to buy this. Like, let's say the suckage continues, and I'm such a sucker. I then buy a Hierophant or whatever the fucking stupid Tyranid big thing. Big Tyranid dick monster. I buy the big Tyranid dick monster, and then I buy like an Eldar scout ship, and then I buy fucking a box of orcs. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now I've got all this stuff. When I put it together and I realize it's dog shit, how long do they think they're going to get new people to just buy random shit?
Here's what I was thinking would be the perfect way for Games Workshop to continue with this method. Basically go the WizKids route and just take a bunch of models, put them in a box, and just sell them at random, and then you could just use them in your army because, of course, everything works.
Yeah.
So just make it random. Make it random. Like, ooh, I got the Cotiez. I got a Cotiez figure in this. I could put him in my army.
I got this guy. The fuck was his name? He was a Crimson Fist. He was a Crimson Fist. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I
do. The fist over his head.
Yes, the worst model of all time. it's
Captain Frankie Muniz.
No, it's Captain Cortez.
I don't think that's Cortez. I thought Cortez was cool looking.
I don't know. It's a Hispanic last name. That's all I remember.
Whatever. Fuck if I remember.
Because all the Iron Fists and all the Crimson Fists had Hispanic names.
Yes, well, because all the Space Marines were segregated.
Oh, that's right.
The Salamanders are the black guys.
Okay.
The Crimson Fists are the Hispanic guys.
Yeah.
The Khans are the Asians.
Yeah.
And the Ultramarines were the white guys, which is why the Ultramarines are on everything.
The Ultramarines. We're the white Space Marines.
Wah.
What's for dinner today? Macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. Perfect.
With a slice of apple pie. And
can't wait to go home and watch some sports ball.
The salamanders tried to push me on some of that collard greens. What a bunch of weirdos.
Let's not get too far.
I fucking love collard greens.
Let's see. I don't like greens at all.
What?
I'm just not a big fan. I just never liked the way
Whatever, you like poutine.
I do like poutine. It's delicious.
It's called poutine.
One day, we're going to have that one French-Canadian listener who's going to be like, Steve, how you have not like the poutine. It is French fries with the gravy and the cheese curds. It is delicious tabernacle.
You kind of sound like a Spaniard.
Nachos. So yeah, and so that's the Unbound is like
Unbound.
Unbound. So we're gonna continue with this kind of like every time a rumor leaks with this, I want to get on top of this just to like, is it good? Is it bad? What? This is silly. You know, I just love it because people are just like, what you said. There are people who are going to defend it no matter what they do.
Yeah.
And I can't see how you could reasonably defend this from a gaming perspective.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the tournament solution is to ban it, but the tournaments didn't ban the Allies rules.
No, they didn't. And in fact, they fucked up the tournaments so bad because they didn't ban the Allies. And in a lot of ways, I think that the Allies rules would have been kind of cool for the tournament just because it adds a little bit of variety. But because it breaks the list so badly.
Also, the chart is awful.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing too. Like, why did just give everything one fucking ally?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, yes, Space Marines could be allied with other Space Marines. That makes fucking sense.
Right.
Eldar can maybe be allied with Space Marines. Dark Eldar can be allied with Chaos. Eldar would not be allied.
Or fuck, you could even make it like this, and this is the only way you could reasonably do Unbound. It's still an awful idea, but you just split it. You split the fucking game into Order Chaos.
Yeah, I get Order. Yeah,
it's like you've got Necrons, Orcs, Chaos Space Marines, Deldar, whatever there, and then you've got Space Marines, blah blah blah, and then you've got Tyranids who can't ally with anybody because they're fucking Tyranids.
It's Tyranids, and it's stupid for them to ally with.
They're Tyranids. They can't do shit. They're not. They're a fucking bug. You know, I would normally put the Necrons on their own as well, but they retconned the Necrons in the newest codex, so they go on the Force of Chaos.
Hey, can we be Chaos? No, you're a bug. Bugs can't be chaotic. I can be chaotic.
It's a good look for me.
It's a good look for me. Hey, watch this. I'm gonna knock over this tower of cards.
Even more egregious.
I'm chaotic.
Is the next
the next
change.
part. So they said, you know what? How can we make this game more like the universally reviled 7th edition of 8th edition of Fantasy? So let's take the thing that everyone hates about Fantasy and transpose it to the thing into 40K.
The nut low worst rule in Fantasy, the Magic phase. The worst thing about Fantasy.
I mean, it's
coming to 40K games near you.
It's almost like, okay, so in my job, if there's usually some bad piece of technology that comes out, we usually go, well, or a bad program or something like that, we usually go, well, someone probably knew someone on the design team or someone who's invested in it, so someone's making money somewhere off this. And that's the only thing I can think of is someone out there has like the IP property on that Magic phase, and they're just trying to make more money out of it. It's the only way, because personally, I don't think that see it as terrible as you. I think that there's far worse rules in 8th edition, but it's not a good rule. It's not something that makes the game more fun.
Oh, it's just the worst part of the game.
That's what. As I said, I don't think it's as bad as you say, but it's bad. It's not good in any way, shape, or form. It's not good. But I don't. You
haven't played enough against douchebags using the Magic phase.
Oh no, I get
as
it.
A hammer.
I get that. I get that you can do that, but no, trust me. I think that the Hordes rule is far worse.
Why? Hordes are bad.
Well, it's not necessarily the Hordes rule, but it's the fact that you have to have a minimum unit of 30 to 35 guys for every unit.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into it, but for the most part, like, Hordes are shit. Like, people thought they were super good and people were using them in the beginning, but because of like busted Magic and War Machines being so insane, you basically like you have one or no Horde in the list.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's not necessarily the Hordes rule, but I'm just talking like how big your units have to be nowadays. Like, it's just...
Oh, they're stupid huge.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, I think more than 20 is stupid huge.
Yeah. 21 guys. That's stupid huge.
Yeah. That's fucking gigantic.
You take one away. That's more manageable.
Well, because you remember, it's the 4-man front. Like, because the 4-man front and a 20-man block, that's deep enough. Like, that's fine. But then they change it to a 5-man front. It's like, oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just trying to sell me fucking 5 more models.
I always like the 5-man front because you could always put your leader in the center. I like the symmetry. I'm a little anal retentive like that. Anyway, we're getting too...
Fuck the leader.
Yeah, fuck the leader.
Fuck the king.
Acquired chickens. I'm gonna have to eat every chicken. That made no sense. I'm sorry, it was badass, but it made no sense. He was like trying to sound hard while talking about eating chickens. Anyway, so they're bringing the stupid fucking Magic phase to 40K for the Psychic phase. Something that didn't
complete with the Perils of the War miscast chart.
Yeah. something that didn't exist from 3rd edition on to I think it was 5th. They had it in 6. 6 is when they reintroduced the psychic phase, right? Or do they have it in 5th?
In 6, the psychic phase works like shooting.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's been shooting since 3rd edition.
Okay. Good. So now they're actually bringing in.
I think 2nd edition didn't have it. 2nd edition had cards, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but they still had a phase. It was a whole phase.
Right. Oh, I mean, it's been a phase in all the other games. They use their psychic powers first, I guess. I don't know. Well, they were like a fucking shooting attack.
It's always worked like a shooting attack from like 3rd, 4th,
It's an
5th.
It's an LD test. You get your fucking spell and you go pew 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 pew.
Pew 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 pew.
Get whatever the effective. You get reroll armor saves or whatever dildos you're doing.
You get all the dildos. All the dildos.
Yeah, all the dildos are acquired by you.
Ugh. Yeah, and so anyway, they're bringing that into the game. And
so I can't wait to see the like Zinch fucking chaos spell that like blows up a fucking unit.
Okay.
It's like, oh, that unit's dead.
All right, I'm fucking done with 40K. Can we talk about something else? I'm so physically exhausted from talking about this fucking game. Fuck it. Fuck that game. It's really funny too because all of a sudden I got accepted to some 40K group on Facebook, and I'm like, I don't even remember going. Why would I even sign up for this?
Oh, you can get added to groups by people.
Oh, okay.
So like, I think there's a way I can just like, if I want to, I can put you on a group and be like, oh, you're in my group now, and you have to leave the group.
I had to do that because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this shit. It's like all about the Horus heresy.
Heresy.
I don't care about any of this.
Pre-heresy.
All right. What else I fucking gotta talk? Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to talk about 2 Kickstarters I saw that I really liked. One that I really liked, it just started up a couple days ago. Let's see. I don't know when it actually started, but it's still going. It's got 3 weeks left on it. It's called Transylvania Curses and Traders. It's coming out of Kansas, Lenexa, Kansas. It's basically it's kind of a dungeon crawl, very Ravenloft style. But I just really like. I know Steve put his head down and everything like there. But I just really like the art with it. I like the. I kind of like the direction that the game goes. It looks pretty fun, and it doesn't look like a standard dungeon crawl. It does. You don't have like the miniatures, and you don't. It's not like little blocks and tiles of moving the guys around. I'm trying to look a good picture of how the board looks, so I can show Steve without him going, "This is stupid."
It's already stupid.
It's already stupid just because it's
it doesn't have figures. How are you gonna do a dungeon crawl game without figures?
It's more than that. The way that it draws tiles, and it kind of works a little bit like Carcassonne. I don't know if you ever played Carcassonne.
Carc-ass-one.
Yes, Carc-ass-one. Thank you, Steve. Oh, here are some of the cards, but that's what you lay out. So it's like you have like
the fuck.
Exactly. It's kind of unique in there. So you'll have like a church, and then you have all these spots around the church, and you move your guys around there. It's not figure based; it's more meeple based.
Fuck meeples, unless it's those awesome meeples with the artwork on them.
All
right, so it's a card game.
Yeah, it's a card game, but it moves like a board game. It's a customizable, not customizable, but you lay out the tiles.
They don't have meeples. They just have the pawns that look like butt plugs.
I'm sure you could.
Nope, pawns that look like butt plugs.
Go get
those are what we are going to use.
Go get some cheap Reaper figs.
Ooh, 16 modular board game tiles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like it. It's not expensive. I think it's only $40.
It shouldn't be expensive. It's just cards, tiles, and.
I think if you contribute like $150, you get to design a card.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It looks like it'll be solid. It actually kind of looks like a Fantasy Flight game.
It does. It looks a lot, and I'm very tempted to pick it up and give it a try.
I'd say the only real difference is Fantasy Flight would probably have little figures for all the explorers and for the big monsters.
Well, yeah, they would, and then they would be all set in the Descent universe. Or you found that way funnier than you should have.
Dude, that's awesome. Descent's a good game.
It is a good game, and I like that they've done with Battlelore lately. They go,
all right,
okay.
So this is not terrible. Bring me the next one so I may mock it.
Well, no, I just wanted to say that they had the pledge level is, let me see. I want to make sure I do it right. It's $45 and you get everything in the game. So that's nothing for a board game nowadays.
Fuck if I remember the name of it, but I actually saw there's a Kickstarter running now, and that reminded me of it. There's a ghost hunting Kickstarter game that's designed to be played in the dark. Ooh. And all of the figures are like pretty big, and they have flashlights that light up. So you play the game by the lights of your miniatures flashlights. It's pretty fucking cool.
That
and
sounds
all the
awful.
ghosts are translucent. So like when you turn your figure and he's got the light lighting up, like the ghosts light up. It looks cool. I was like, that looks neat. That looks like a fun like a Wii game.
You have to find that and put that on the Facebook page. So I'll take a look at it.
All right.
Looks like a Wii game.
Yeah, a Wii game, like for people who are Wii.
Oh, I thought you meant like for the Wii entertainment system.
No, that would not make any sense.
Yeah, and if for like an extra $10, you get all the PDF stuff. So it's all print and play. You get the game and the print and play stuff.
I hate print and play.
I do. You know what? I always think
It's always this fucking bunch of paper.
It's like I always think it's a good idea, and then I actually like get it. I'm like, this would just take a shit ton of work to get.
And then you
out.
take it to fucking Kinko's, and you're like, maybe I'll get this printed on some good card stock. And they're like, how much money is it? I'm like, I could have bought the game for that much.
I could have bought the game for that much. Fuck. So yeah, $150. You can create a unique event card. They also have retailer packs on there, so which I always like. I always like the Kickstarters put that on there just because.
My event card would be decapitation. As soon as you draw it, you pick a player, they fucking lose the game immediately.
I would pick a card that's called Dick Butt, and
Dick butt capitation?
you have to put the butt plug up your butt,
Ooh. Nice.
and then put it out and put it on the board, and no one's allowed to clean it. They have to look at it and
Smell
touch it and smell it throughout the entire game. Bask in its sickness.
Sounds good.
Bask in it. Yeah, they have the. Smell that? Smell it?
That's the smell of victory.
Actually, it smells like the taco dip you ate.
You need a new taco dip. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I it's called Transylvania Curses and Traders, which is a terrible name for a game. Still would recommend taking a look at it. And for $45,
Everyone's gonna refer to it as Transylvania. Period. They probably had to call it Transylvania Curses and Traders because there's probably already a trademarked game named Transylvania.
I would call it Transylvania : Castlevania : Ravenloft. That's what I would call
Why
it.
wouldn't you just call it Transylvanian?
I like what you've done there. The next thing I wanted to talk. Well, let's see. I have to bring it up because I could not find it earlier, and I know someone was talking about it on the Facebook page, so I'll have to bring it up.
Is it your immaculate katana blade?
I have 2 katana blades. They're both replicas.
No one will be able to defeat the undefeatable Shogun now
keep
that
it
I have
going.
acquired 2 katana blades. As a matter of fact, I will solo the undead lich while the rest of you flee with the treasure. My katana blades will strike furiously and quickly when I use my secret Kenpo Ogi, dragon twisting fiery blade shot.
Just keep it going. Just a little bit longer.
Nope, he died. He got killed.
Damn
'Cause
it.
Turns out katanas don't make you invincible.
Turns out, total TPK.
This is bullshit. If this were the real world, a warrior shogun like myself with 2 katanas could have easily defeated that lich and slashed the dungeon itself in half, allowing us to just walk out with our treasure.
It's true. By the way, while I'm waiting for this to
Hattori Hanzo.
while I'm waiting for this to load, I do wanna mention that I really I did get to.
You fucked it up.
No, I just wanted to say that I really did. I did look at the what's it called, the Wood Elves for the new fantasy release, and I did like the models a lot. I mean, I don't necessarily. There's of course they're $20 more expensive than they should be, but I did actually think that they were.
You're fucking awful.
They're good looking. I like them. I like them a lot. I thought they were good on that.
Well, you can enjoy your flaming sword wielded by a fucking tree. You can enjoy that.
It's not actually on fire. That's part of the thing. I thought it was too at first.
It's fucking fire.
The game's called March of the Ants.
Oh yeah, the Brant linked that.
Yeah. Okay, so it's out of Portland, Oregon. The guy's obviously a granola cruncher, loves fucking fish and Grateful Dead, smokes a lot of doobies, and he's like, you know, it'd be a great game if we could make Sim Ant the fucking board game.
Sim Ant was pretty fun.
I know, that's what I'm saying, though. I was like, oh, yeah, that's Sim Ant the board game. Wait a second. I like Sim Ant.
Maybe
Let me
there'll
take
be
a look at this.
artisanal popcorn.
Yeah. The game actually looks pretty good. Now, it looks pretty good for, like, let's say if I had a bunch of 8 to 12-year-olds playing it, I think it would be a fun family game. And it's not
Are you
expensive.
telling me your ants can't mercilessly slaughter the other ants?
They do get, like,
Because
stuff.
that's disingenuous as fuck.
They do get, like, stuff like crazy fire. They, like, the thing is...
Can they
you,
catch cordyceps fungus?
Yes.
They can?
They have these evolution cards where you can evolve your ants, and there's one that's called Parasitic Thorax, so that they can. When you forage, choose a player and discard the first card that you draw. That player loses larva equal to the action of the discarded card. You gain larva equal to the amount lost.
Oh, well, that's not the same as cordyceps fungus, but okay.
Well, I'm assuming it's a fungus because it's parasitic.
Eh.
Meh. But your ants do get to evolve. Like, you get, like, crazy adaptations and evolutions. You build the ant colony.
Can your game be narrated by David Attenborough?
Probably.
That would be sweet.
Spad, no expense. Yeah, and it's...
And Joe has lost yet again. Look, he's getting really mad and throwing his dice. Cement. Like, it's cement. It seems fucking fine. Like,
Yeah.
I
And it's
got
only-
nothing bad to say
as
about
I said,
it.
it's only like $35. Buy it because it looks pretty cool, especially if you have like, you know, a casual gaming group. You play with a bunch of casuals, or you play with, you know, some younger kids.
Filthy casuals.
You know, this is not a game where you're going to have a train or
Toot toot.
mercilessly kill your opponent or dungeon crawl, but it does look like an interesting board game for a change. I saw it and I was like, huh, I haven't seen a board game like this in a long fucking time.
Yeah, and it's funded, so that's good.
Yeah, so Steve, actually, do you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Yeah, I just said it was fine.
I like how all Kickstarters are saying that stuff is EU friendly now. You know, because
Dude, the EU spends a fuck ton of money on Kickstarters.
probably fucking EU. God damn.
You could have just been like,
Union.
ew.
Yeah, I could have done that too. And the last game I
Bison dollars.
Bison dollars. Fucking look at our money. It's so colorful and gay.
Dude, America has shit money.
America has awesome.
Our money fucking blows.
You know why our money is green? Because green is money.
What? What? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The last game I wanted to talk about was a game I just demoed recently.
Dermerd.
I dermered it. I demoed Marvel Dice.
Oh, Dice Masters?
Dice Masters,
That game's
Marvel
hot,
Dice.
hot, hot.
Is it?
Yeah. There's singles that are going for like a hundo plus.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It wasn't a great game, mind you, in any aspect of the game. Do you ever play, I guess it's based off the Quarrior system. Yeah. It does not feel like Marvel at all.
No.
It feels like a dice game.
It's a dice game.
It's literally just rolling dice. There's like no like, oh, you know, Spider-Man's gonna use his web slinger. It's like you use your web slinger, but you roll dice. You know, it's not great. I mean, okay. It is a very high quality system. There is not a lot of flaws with the rules. It is a very, very crunchy rule set. And that being like, you must do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then and play, repeat till someone is defeated. Like, it's not very thematic. There's not a lot of fun with it, so to speak. But I could see it's very tournament friendly. There's not a lot of flaws in the rules at all.
So hot, hot, hot.
Holy shit. I was like, okay, I get this. But after a while, it was just like, this is really boring. You know, there's nothing like fun about this. I can't be like, thwip, thwip, snicked.
Yeah,
Hulk
it's just,
smash.
it's a strong license to sell a decent game.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. The boards are really nice. The dice are gorgeous. I kind of wish that they were just like normal dice that had the little X-Men symbols or whatever on it, so I could use them as regular dice. Yeah. I don't know much what else I could say with it. It's very, and also it's just 2-player. So it's like, okay, that's fine, but I don't really just want to play 2-player. I'd like to play multiplayer. Like if it was like a 4-person game or 6-person game, it'd probably be a lot more fun for me. Also, the dice bags are kind of cheesy in there. You gotta definitely get a new dice bag. They're like little they're like condoms that they give you.
You just get the Crown Royale bag.
Yeah.
That guy, when you show up to a Magic tournament with the Crown Royale bag with all your shit in it, you're that guy. And everyone knows you're a barn, and you're going to get wrecked.
I like the fact that you have the Crown Royal bag tied to your belt loop. That's the part, you know, so you actually look, and you're wearing your puffy pants and your curled shoes from earlier. Nice. Like, who would like to play some Magic with me?
Oh, well, if it's from earlier, I also have no shirt on.
Yes. No, you have a vest.
Oh, nice.
An open vest.
A classic open vest.
Yes.
Sweet.
With maybe a fez.
I definitely rock a fez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or and you're just like, I have magic wares if you have the coin.
I don't recognize the face, but the fez rings a bell.
Oh, it's hot in here.
I actually played some games over the week as well.
What'd you play?
First, I played Hex.
Oh yeah.
The Hex TCG
Yeah.
online digital only game.
So is it better or worse than Hearthstone?
I think Hearthstone is a baby's game for babies. Hearthstone's very low in the level of tactics. Like, you do your shit on your turn, I do my shit on my turn. That's how Hearthstone works.
Okay.
Like, there's like the only interplay are like specific cards that you put face down, and only wizards get them. Because Hearthstone's
Are you a wizard, Harry?
Hearthstone's class based, like WoW.
Okay.
So like,
Yeah, I get
if you're a warrior and I'm a warrior, you play your entire turn, I do nothing. Then I play my entire turn, you do nothing. I only attack you, you attack me. There's no interplay. There's no real deep strategy. It's super popular because it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's decently fun, and it's got a strong license.
I was gonna say, like, I played a game and I was like, all right, I get it. It's not bad.
Right. That's why it's
better than Marvel Dice.
it's super casual. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's for.
It's casual.
It's very good for its target audience.
Yes, exactly.
Hex,
but I'd still much rather play WoW. Than
Hex
play
TCG is an evolution of Magic. Like, really.
Is it an evolution?
Yes.
Is it a revolution?
Well, that time will tell on that. But I think it's the best digital card game that's ever been made.
Okay.
It's a strict upgrade from Magic Online.
Okay.
The biggest strike you can have against it if you play Magic Online and you have a significant collection is, one, you spent a lot of money on Magic Online, so unless you want to sell it all to switch to Hex, which you could do, you can't currently win a shit ton of money playing Hex.
Can we?
But that's planned.
Will they ever talk about it on the Michigan Poker Hour?
Hex?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
We have to make sure we get this before them.
Okay. So, oh yeah. Hey, Sal, we are playing a new game. It's called Hex. It seems pretty good. A lot of satanic references in it, though. Don't like that. Not at all.
It's very similar to Magic, but then again, so was World of Warcraft, which is also designed by Cryptozoic, who designed Hex. But this is like super similar, like just probably really close to not infringing on copyright, because there's 5 shards, which are the 5 colors. There's blue, black, red, green, and white, but they're called sapphire, ruby, blood, diamond, and wild for the green.
And fuchsia.
Well, yeah, and
Magenta, fuchsia.
but like the way the resource system works is a little bit better. So you played Magic at some point, but so you play a resource. Say it's blue. What that does is it gives you a 1 threshold of blue, and then it gives you 1 point of resource. When you play a card, like cast a creature or a spell, it'll have a casting cost in the upper left, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then below that, there's a threshold, which you need to be at that level of threshold. So if it's a 3 and it has blue, that means that you can pay 3 resource, and you had to have played 2 blue at some point during the game. So that's very similar. But there's cards that add threshold and not resource, and vice versa. So if you get a guy who's accelerating your mana and you're getting like 3 extra resource a turn, if you still only have 1 blue threshold, even though you've got like 10 or 12 resource to play, you can't play this card because it requires more threshold. But regardless, that's actually getting into the nuts and bolts, which is even the biggest point. The biggest thing that's really, really sweet about the game is they took full advantage of the fact that it's only ever going to be a digital game. So there are cards that do things that you could never do in a real card game, or would be a huge pain in the ass to keep track of. So, for example, when I was evaluating cards in a draft, and I got blown out because I evaluated them strictly like going from Magic, a lot of the cards like enchantments are shit in Magic, because you put it on a creature, I kill your creature, you lose both the enchantment and the creature. It's like the basics of card advantage. In Hex, enchantments don't actually stay around. They give a permanent buff to the creature. So like, this creature is permanently +2/+2 and flies. And then you say you kill it with a spell. It goes to my graveyard. If I play a card that gets it out of my graveyard, it still has +2/+2 and flies. If you play a card that returns it to my hand, it comes back to my hand, I play it, it still has +2/+2 and flies. And then there's cards that make random cards. So like there's a giant bunny who makes a random bunny card from the set. Just makes one randomly each turn. And there's an artifact that makes 1 random artifact each turn. So like, it's that shit you could never do, because it just produces one. It's like, boop, It's like, oh, it's random. So it's out of all of the artifacts in the game. So it could be like a nut, like 10 resource thing. I think it's very fun. I was playing the drafts. Really like the draft. It's in closed beta right now. The Kickstarter was a smash. It made over like almost 3 million.
Yeah, it was big.
So there was a ton of people playing, but it's very good. If you wanted to foray into the digital card games, I would not waste your time with Hearthstone. I would actually go towards Hex. I'd at least try drafting because it's very fun. I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to it, and they're really working on trying to make it into a big thing. They want to have like cash tournaments and stuff like that. So it's good. I give it a thumbs up currently.
Okay. As we know, there's two modes to Steve's rating system. There's either it's good, I give it a thumbs up, or there's like it's shit.
That's true.
Or
there's always the sideways, which is undecided.
So what else have you been doing lately?
Star Realms.
Star Realms.
Holy shit.
What is Star Realms?
All right, Star Realms is a Kickstarter that we kind of missed. I don't think we ever linked or talked about it.
What is it, RPG?
It was
card
a
game?
Kickstarter. It's a deck building game.
Oh, okay.
But before you recoil in horror at the prospect of a deck building game, everyone who automatically default hates deck building games, it is the best deck building game ever.
Yeah.
Period.
Ever.
And every good deck building game, every game I play after this point, I will evaluate based on this game. Okay. So I think this is the next step, the next evolution of deck building games. Number one, it's $15.
Okay.
It's fucking $15, which is nuts. Base deck building games, like 30 is the lowest you'd normally find it. Which I was like, yeah. When I first saw, I wasn't really like interested. I was like, all right, yeah, fine. I guess I'll fucking play it. It's probably gonna suck because like I looked at it and I'm like, the game looks kind of cool. It's like it's spaceships and shit. It's designed for 2 players. It's designed to be 1v1. It's not only 1v1, but that's where it shines. No, that's something that's bad. Mm-mm. So the biggest thing, you played a bunch of deck building games. So you played DC and Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
All right, so in DC and Lord of the Rings, you get your starting cards of like 7 +1s, and then the 3 cards that don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just screw you.
Yeah.
The way Star Realms works is different. You actually attack the other players during Star Realms. There's no victory points in Star Realms. You're not trying to get cards just to like get a bigger deck or whatever.
In the Grimdark future, there is only war.
There's no end game other than killing the other guy.
Yes.
So you start with 50 health. And the cards you start with 8 cards that give you 1 resource, and the cards that normally would be useless, 2 cards, they do a point of damage instead of giving you resource.
2 damage.
So the first turn, the first player draws 3, and then from that point on, every time anyone draws, they draw 5. Mm-hmm. So I play my 2 resource, I buy cards from the center line, there's 5 cards, and then if I do a point of damage, I'm like, yeah, point of damage to you, so you take your damage. Couple differences. One, when you buy a card from the center line, you immediately flip the next card off the top of the deck.
Yeah.
So if you have say you've got like
the
11,
flop, if you will.
You have 11 points. You've got a huge amount of points.
So Sal, if you flip the card off the center of the deck,
this isn't like a flop, you idiot.
It's not a flop.
11 points, and you buy a 1-drop. You get to flip the next, and you're like, I got 10 left. Oh, sweet, I flipped something awesome. It's super fast. It's like 25 minutes.
Would you say you play at the speed of light?
No. I'd say you play faster than light.
Faster.
Well, because like I said, I was not interested in playing this game. I really wasn't. I was just like, fuck it. I played 1 game yesterday, and I was like, let's play again. And then after I finished that game, I'm like, let's play again. After I finished that game, I'm like, let's play again. It's super fucking good. It's got everything you want in a deck building game.
How many times in a row did you win?
In a row, twice.
Okay. Did you win? Did you win your first game?
No, I lost the first game.
Okay. But you won the second game?
Yep.
Did you win the third game?
Yep.
Did you win the fourth game?
No.
Okay. Because I always like to find the win-loss percentage of a person who's recommending a game, mainly because I want to see, because sometimes people they have to win in order for it to be a good game.
No, the game's great.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
But that's not. When I'm playing, the entire time I was playing the game, I was evaluating the game while I was playing it. I'm like that seems good. I really like this mechanic. Really like that. Like that's all I was talking about. I was like, oh, this seems good. Like that seems really strong. And then like the normal thing that's the best to get in a deck building game is the destroy cards.
Yeah.
You know, like you can destroy a card, remove it from your deck, so it's not clogging your deck anymore. And I said that's one of the problems in the game. But that's just all deck building games. Mm-hmm. Like those cards are just hot. They're in demand. So the way I guess for this to make sense, I should probably talk a little bit more. There's 4 factions in the game. There's yellow, green, red, and blue. You buy all resources the same. It's just fucking points.
Yeah.
But the cards, they have their abilities. It kind of goes down in a line, and there's the first line will be like what the card does, and then there may be a second line, and the second line has a faction symbol, and then that has an ability. And the way that works is if you play a card with the same faction, you get that ability to trigger. So like one of them might be do 1 damage, draw a card, and then it has a faction symbol, do 2 damage. So if I play that card by itself, I draw a card, you take a damage. That's all it does. But if I play that card, I draw a card, I play another one of the same card or same faction. So let's just say same card because it's the same faction. You take a damage, and then you're going to take 4 more damage because their secondary abilities trigger. So you want to try and
it's just a well put together deck building game, is what you're saying.
It's much better than your average deck building game. Like that's the best thing is like there's an end game to it where you're trying to kill the other person, and there's cards where you gain life back. So you can try and build like a super aggressive deck where you're just trying to go for damage as fast as possible.
2 damage.
And the other person can try to be going for gaining health or playing the defensive like base space stations. I cannot recommend it enough. $15. Like this game is phenomenal. I love it.
There you go, people. There you go.
It's got double thumbs up.
It's got double thumbs up. Like it's got 3 thumbs up. Steve has 2 thumbs up and an engorged boner.
Well, no, that would be the double thumb and the D.
The double thumb and the D?
Yeah.
Double D? Triple D?
The DTD.
DTD. Oh, okay. DTD. Steve's got 3 ratings now. He's got thumbs down, thumbs up, and DTD.
DTD.
Okay. Double thumbs dicks.
Yeah. And Hex might become DTD, but I'll reserve judgment once the game is actually out.
Okay.
'Cause it's still beta. So like there's cards that are being tweaked and changed.
I'm only letting you talk about Hex as much as you are just because it is still card based.
It is.
It kind of falls in.
It's a game.
But it's video gamey. I don't want to talk about video games.
Only in the fact that you play it on an electronic device.
Do I have a New York Yankees cap on or a White Sox cap on?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Everyone now.
Do I sit here and talk?
Everyone knows you're lying.
Do I sit here and talk about the benefits of Neo Geo? Then no, this is not the game on
like
podcast.
Neo Geo.
Or play on podcast. Sorry, this is not Patro's retro
The
video game
on?
review.
I think you said it. Isn't that right?
It's Play On.
Oh, what the fuck? Where the fuck's Game On?
It used to be called Game On, but then there was another podcast called Game On, so they changed it to Play On.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're way over time, and there's not much I also want to talk about. I wanted to hit that Xeno Shift, which was the game that I was talking about. The next Kickstarter.
With the hype art.
Yeah, with the hype art. It's coming
Right.
out soon from Cool Mini. There's a Kickstarter called Spectre Miniatures. They're doing it's like all modern combat. It's causing some people to be butthurt. I don't care either way.
Why?
It's modern combat.
Right, but that's a thing that already exists.
I know,
like
but
there's already miniatures games for that. You can play like
yeah, but
Taliban
people
versus
don't
United States
fucking
soldiers
know
right
that.
now.
People don't fucking know that. It's historical. It's all like grognards who know that shit. Like the average player, the average person who bathes.
I wonder why they aren't yelling about Call of Duty.
Nudies!
Because it's the same thing. You're running around and you're fighting terrorists.
Terrorists, but they're not real terrorists.
They're insurgents.
They're insurgents from Russia. It's okay to kill Russians.
Dun 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 dun. The bear.
Soviet bear. In Soviet Russia, we have no modern combat. Actually, we do. It's called Ukraine.
Hi-yo.
All right, so
That's so topical.
well, that's how you get the ratings. So I don't think I have anything else to talk about. But we're way over anyway. So anyway, I want to thank out to the Northampton Wargamers for sponsoring us
They're
again.
still fucking sponsoring
They're gonna
us?
sponsor us for a while, dude.
Dude, Hamish's mom must have really put out to make the cash for that.
Seriously, do you know how many dicks she had to suck to
a
get the
lot.
money? It's true from what I hear. You know how many pounds she had to suck? How many
Pounds?
dicks she had
How
to
many
suck?
pounds she had to
How many dicks she had to suck to make that many pounds? And I don't even know the current translation between.
Well, it's really
pounds
stupid.
and
They use that
dollars.
little like fucking weird squiggly thing. It should just say libs, like pounds in our country.
Yeah,
it's 3 libs.
Well, why don't they just use dollars like every other civilized Western country does?
You might want to fact check that one.
Hey, USA, man. It's the only civilized Western country I know.
Such garbage.
I'm just saying. Canada uses
I mean,
dollars too.
we share our imperial measurement system with like 2 countries I can't remember the name of.
You know what? In terms of the imperial measurement system, I'll give you whatever. Metric, imperial, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't really matter in the long run. However, the Celsius Fahrenheit debate, I will constantly side on the Fahrenheit. Celsius is a bullshit system, and
Is it because you're just a big fan of Fahrenheit 451?
that too. It was a pleasure to burn, Steve. It was a pleasure to burn.
I knew it.
But aside from that, Celsius is bullshit, and people who use Celsius are fools.
Scientists?
They're fools.
Educated men and women?
But it's okay for scientists to use Celsius because they actually deal with things like ice freezing and water boiling. That makes sense to use it. However, when you're dealing with the difference between, like, let's say a 60-degree day in Fahrenheit and a 70-degree day in Fahrenheit, there's a huge difference between the two feeling wise, and it's incremental. In Celsius, it's like it's a nice balmy 32 degrees. Oh, it's a sweltering 33 degrees.
None of this will matter once Bison takes over.
It's true.
Because it will be Bison height and Bison dollars.
Bison height 451.
Yes.
It will be. Maybe I'll just call this podcast instead of Unbound. I'll call it Bison height.
No,
451.
it would have to be Unbound Overdrive.
Okay, Unbound Overdrive.
Unbound Overdrive.
What is Overdrive for?
Cleopatra Overdrive?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it an anime thing?
No.
No.
Overdrive is just something that's hilarious.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Yeah. So thanks to the Northampton Wargamers.
Northampton.
So go to
The
Planet Arbitrary.
Northampton Thunderlords.
Thunderlords.
Yeah.
Go to planetarbitrary.com for your Planet Arbitrary needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at Game Classy. Like our Facebook page. Also like the Facebook page of the Northampton Wargamers.
The fuck was that?
I don't know. I just added it in there. Every time I throw like a weird thing into my spiel, it kind of screws me up in the long run.
I see.
Comment, like, okay.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
On iTunes, we got a new comment on there, and it was basically a guy say, "This podcast is far too vulgar." He used the word vulgar.
That's
Steve.
fucking sweet.
He used the word vulgar, and then I looked up on his profile to see his other reviews. All they were commenting on wargaming podcasts about how they were vulgar. And then he liked an app. He's like, "This app is good." And I kind of want to just reply to him, "Is the app?
This app is vulgar.
This app is not vulgar." I'm like, yeah.
Well, just for that guy, giant erect horse cocks flopping into floppy swishy vaginas, pushing dick butts out of fecal shit, cunt fuck dildo cracker butt. Farts.
So go on there, laugh at his review, say it's helpful. I don't really give a fuck. But comment on your own, say that we're great, say that we suck. I don't really care, but just as long as you give us 5 stars, that's all I really
Like, comment, and subscribe.
like, comment, subscribe. We're on YouTube now.
Yeah.
It's basically just this podcast.
You gotta get the backlog.
I know. It's just maybe over the summer when I got more
Well,
time.
some dude linked you a way to
Yeah,
send
but
them
that
all
costs
up.
money. I don't want to.
What does it cost, $1?
It costs more money than I want to spend.
If it's $1, I'll give you the $1.
No, you won't.
It's a fucking $1.
Not to put like 50 some episodes on.
No, as I'm asking, like, is the entire process $1?
No, it's way more than that.
What's way more? Is it relative way more? Like, it could be a whole $7, or is it way more like it's going to be $80?
It's probably gonna be like $80.
Okay, that's a lot more. That's a
I'm
thing.
not gonna fucking do that. Not for YouTube. That's for fucking. Do you know what Rooster Teeth is?
Yeah.
I just heard about Rooster Teeth. People care.
How did you just hear about Rooster
People
Teeth?
care way too much about that
If
show.
the internet was the pulse of the city, your finger would be far away from it and jammed up your own ass.
Who is Leonardo? Leonardo is what people who are far from the pulse of the city are saying.
We're out of touch and far from the pulse of the city. I am come to stay.
Yeah. I Rooster Teeth. I'm like, all right, people are way into this. I mean, like, to the point where it's weirdly obsessive how much they're into Rooster Teeth. Aside from that point whatsoever, YouTube is a weird dark territory I don't like going to unless I'm trying to find like that weird softcore pornography that's not really showing boob, but it's just enough. You know what I'm saying?
No.
All right. Well, whatever. Growing up in the 90s without
If
pornography.
I'm looking for pornography, it's the hardest of core. I'm talking about like some lady getting ass rammed by a dude with like a gigantic like 40-foot dick while she's blowing a horse and fingering like a llama.
I would like that
Like,
only.
I can only climax if it's at that level or higher.
So what you're saying is you really love the Michigan Poker Hour.
Well, shh. That's our little secret.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah, today.
Speaking of Michigan poker, fucking shit. You gotta watch Fargo, the TV show.
Yeah,
it's
I watch
fucking
it.
great.
Yeah,
oh,
not bad.
so good.
Did you like Captain America 2, by the way?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, Hail Hydra.
Yeah,
Hail Hydra.
that's the stupidest salute ever. The double fist.
Steve's giving the double fist Hydra salute. I just like Gary Shandling. Yeah, by the way, Hail Hydra.
Yes, when he leans in. I kind of giggled at that. I was like,
So where was I? Oh yeah, so go to iTunes, do that. Comment on us on Tabletop Gaming News. Shout out to Polar Bear, Jason.
Did you see the Shogun commented on the Tabletop Gaming
He
News?
did. He loved the katana.
The immaculate katana blade.
So now that we've gone officially 15 minutes over
Yes!
the limits,
I'm sure everyone's gonna like it.
So Steve, until next time.
Boss, I ate this cannoli and it gave me really bad diarrhea.
What?
Game classy.